Update for what we can expect the next few days and take a little bit of a look ahead to our next weather maker that's going to be arriving for the latter parts of this week. In the meantime, if you can give me just a minute, I'll get everything working here behind the scenes. I'll show you some of those live scenes across western Montana, and overall it is quiet. It is very nice out there. Let me slide this over just a hair. You can see that tripod was showing up there in the corner of the screen. So there we go. I think that's about as good as we're going to do. But yeah, just give me about 30 seconds to a minute. Make sure I got everything here working here behind the scenes. And we will get started with this update in full here in just a minute or so. Looks like everything here is working behind the scenes. So I think with that, let's get started. So thank you all for tuning in this evening. I know we'll have a few more people working their way in over the next little bit, but overall, the key takeaway for the next few days, high pressure is in control. We're going to be looking at very quiet conditions, and that's going to be pretty nice for the next few days. So I'll just say this right now. Certainly go out and enjoy the nice weather while we can. The autumn leaves are reaching their peak of the season, so even more reason to get out there and enjoy the nice weather. Go take some photos of the fall foliage, and if you get any good photos, certainly share those with us at nbcmontana.com/chime in. Now, with this ridge of high pressure in place, we saw lots of sunshine today. Temperatures pretty close to average. We're slowly warming up after our storm system this weekend. We saw those high temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Most areas were in the 60s for this afternoon, with Dillon being our warm spot, at least within western Montana there at 67 degrees. Our cool spot, West Yellowstone, 57, no surprise there. Now, again, going into those live looks across the area, it is quiet. We've still got the full hunter's moon or the full harvest moon out right now, so a beautiful night to go out and enjoy that. It started to cool down pretty quickly. We're back down into the 40s area-wide right now, here at just after 9 p.m. 47 in Kalispell and Missoula, 49 Bozeman, and 46 in the mining city. Winds are on the lighter side, less than 10 miles per hour, and that's going to allow those temperatures to fall pretty quickly overnight, down into the 20s and 30s. And we are going to continue to see that potential for frost in most valleys. Patchy at least, if not widespread frost for tonight. Temperatures start to moderate a little bit as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Places like Butte, potentially Bozeman, we're still going to be dealing with the frost concerns, and maybe even Kalispell, right at 36 degrees, is about that point where we start dealing with frost. So, really, the time of the season we're in, it comes as no surprise that we're having more of these frost concerns. So, I think really moving forward, I may not necessarily touch on it as much, especially if the weather's getting a little more active, just because, again, we're into the, going into the middle of October, and we are getting to the point where we sometimes do start talking about valley snow. Now, we are going to be talking about mountain snow as we head into this weekend, at least as things stand right now. For our lower elevation valleys, I think we're still going to be looking at rain, but in general, it still gives you the sense that colder air is on the way, and you can see that as we look in this frost freeze potential early next week. We see those temperatures really plummet from 39 on Saturday morning down to 26 degrees by Monday morning there in Kalispell. Now, our afternoon temperatures are going to be following a very similar trend. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're talking temperatures anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees above average, and this is going to be pretty common across the entirety of western Montana. Friday is shaping up to be the warmest day ahead of our next storm system, but you see that quick change in conditions. We see temperatures drop 20 degrees for those afternoon highs between Friday and Saturday, and between Friday and Sunday, a 30-degree swing in temperatures as that storm system moves in. So we're going from 10 to 20 degrees above average Friday to 5 to 15 degrees below average as we head into Sunday. So be ready and prepared for the weather whiplash that is ahead. The reason for this is going to be a trough of low pressure moving in really as we get into Friday, but this weekend is going to be the focus of that. We're going to see cooler temperatures as we just looked at, valley rain and mountain snow. The question mark still comes down to how quickly is that snow level going to fall, and we'll look at that here in just a minute. Now here's how this all plays out. This trough that's moving into the Pacific Northwest right now is going to be that player for this weekend. And normally when you get systems right here, they start to impact western Montana much more quickly than this one is going to. The reason for this is the low pressure sensor at the very edge of this trough is going to cut off from the main flow. The main flow is going to ride up and over top of the ridge that's in place. This low becomes a cutoff low as it spins off the coast here. Then the ridge builds back in for Thursday and Friday, and then that next trough from the north picks this low pressure system up and pushes it across the area, and that's what's going to bring that colder air in from Canada. Now, one thing before we get to that storm system I do want to point out is we are going to be under southwest flow because of this trough out to our west and the ridge that's in place. That's going to lead to an increase in our winds over the next few days, gradually increasing each day. I think tomorrow probably more in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range. I think as we get into Thursday, but especially Friday and Saturday, we're going to be more into that 15 to 25 mile per hour range. So not looking at anything overly strong when it comes to those winds, but just be prepared for some breezy conditions over the next few days as we kind of get stuck between that low pressure trough and the ridge of high pressure. But overall, then we get into that Friday night, Saturday, Sunday time frame, and here comes the moisture, which we'll take the moisture we can get. We're pretty low on our precipitation amounts for the year, so we'll take all the moisture we can get. An isolated shower, maybe a weak thunderstorm or two as we head into Friday will be possible. Saturday and Sunday, I think we're talking about scattered to widespread precipitation across western Montana. And this is going to be starting off as rain. So here's the look. There's Friday. We could see a few showers down here towards West Yellowstone. By the afternoon, maybe a little bit more. This tries to move into parts of northwest and west central Montana. Right now, it does look like we're only in that 10 to 20% likelihood of those showers, maybe weak thunderstorms. But overnight, Friday and into Saturday, here comes this storm system. Scattered showers are expected. This is looking into Saturday morning, and here is Saturday afternoon and evening. So this is one trend that I've noticed today on the timing of this. Yesterday it was showing rainfall really the entire day, and I'm going to focus in on Missoula for a few seconds here just because we've got the University of Montana homecoming game. I know there's a lot of events going on with the parade here in Missoula. The morning we may be dealing with showers, but by the afternoon, depending on how quickly the system moves in, we might have a few gaps. Not going to guarantee that right now. We still have plenty of time to watch this, but maybe we get that first push in the morning, a little bit of a reprieve into the late afternoon and early evening before the next piece of energy moves in, and that's going to be the colder one that moves in for Sunday. So Monday night, we're talking scattered showers, and you see a lot more of these pinks and whites starting to show up. That is the potential for some snowfall. So this is looking into the morning hours. Could see some of that snowfall try and work its way into places like Butte, Georgetown Lake, maybe even Seeley Lake, some of our higher elevation valleys closer to the divide, where some of that snow may try and mix in. For our lower elevation valleys, places like Kalispell, Missoula, Polson, Hamilton, this should, as things stand right now, stay as all rain. Bozeman, I think you're going to be rain as well, but we still have a little bit of time to watch this. But in general, snow levels will be falling as we head into Saturday night and Sunday. Still looking at showers. This one's a little bit more focused into northwest and west central Montana as compared to model runs yesterday that were more over the entirety of the area. Little things like that are what are still going to be ironed out. So that the timing of this system, is it still a condensed low pressure system, or is it more of that open wave trough feature? If it's a low pressure center, that'll likely bring more moisture into the area, heavier rainfall, heavier snowfall. up in the mountains. If it's more of an open wave, it disperses that energy. It doesn't quite have as much to work with in a localized area, so we may see more scattered activity as compared to widespread condensed rain and snow. So that's, again, one of those question marks we still have to answer. Those showers will likely continue into Monday, but you still see the plume of moisture back off to the west. There is still the potential that we're continuing to deal with rain and snow all the way into Monday. So, it locked up here. So I was going to go to another graphic here really quick that I did not have pulled up here. So this is going to be the snow level forecast. And here's kind of a rough look at the timing of how we're going to see those snow levels falling. Friday, Saturday, with that southwesterly flow in place, we're going to be talking snow levels anywhere from about 8 to nearly 10,000 feet, so very high up. Only the top peaks down into southwestern Montana are going to see maybe a little bit of snow with that first wave that comes in on Saturday. As we go throughout the day on Saturday, we get that cooler air starting to move in. Snow levels will be falling down to 6,000, 5,000, and eventually into that 4,000 to 4,500 foot range. And that's going to be, again, late Saturday night into Sunday morning, and that is going to be down below pass level. So we could be talking about some accumulating snowfall for places like Marias Pass, Lookout Pass, Lolo Pass, Rogers Pass, at least as things are standing right now, with that focus into northwest and west central Montana. It wouldn't surprise me, though, that we're going to, at least as things hold, we'll probably see some winter weather advisories, maybe even a winter storm warning for some of those highest peaks. But in general, the likelihood of accumulating snowfall is increasing. So if you have any travel plans on Interstate 90 going over Lookout Pass, if you're heading out over to Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, so just be prepared. There will at least be the potential for some minor impacts into the morning hours, specifically. Lost Trail Pass down US 93 towards Salmon, Idaho, that could be an issue spot as well, depending on how the storm system tracks. US 12 over Lolo Pass, and then US 2 over Marias Pass. Honestly, that's the one that I have my highest attention to, but I'm going to read just specifically what the National Weather Service is showing for this. This is looking ahead to that Saturday night through Monday morning time frame. Median snow forecasts for Monday morning, including 6 to 10 inches of snow, total snow or storm total snow in the Mission, Swan, and Whitefish Mountains. So this is specifically National Weather Service Missoula for northwest, west central Montana, with around a foot in the higher elevations of Glacier National Park. Further south into the Bitterroot Mountains, expect 4 to 8 inches of new snow, including for Lookout and Lost Trail passes. The median forecast for Lolo Pass is 2 to 3 inches, with high-end forecasts, granted this is like the top 90th percentile, so only around a 10% chance of happening, have 18 to 24 inches of snow in the mountains in northwest Montana, with 12 inches of snow into the Bitterroot Mountains. So not as likely that we're going to see that kind of snowfall, but in general, talking again, 2 to 3 inches for Lolo Pass, 4 to 8 inches for places like Lookout and Lost Trail Pass, and talking about the mountains of northwest Montana, we're probably going to be in that, I'll just put it at average, 2 to 8 inches for Marias Pass. They don't specify that there, but again, be prepared for some wintry driving conditions as we head into the weekend across the area. So that's pretty much everything that I had for this update. So if you have any last minute questions, feel free to ask those in the chat section. I'll try and answer them real quick. But the key takeaways, and I'll just bring this whole forecast update down into just a minute or so. For the next couple of days, we're going to be looking at high pressure in control, temperatures above average, anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees warmer than what we normally would be this time of the year, which is in the 50s and 60s, upper 50s and 60s. We'll see that all the way through Friday. With the trough to our west, winds will be increasing. Could see that anywhere from about, say, 15 to 25 miles per hour, increasing gradually as we head into this weekend. Our storm system, that next weather maker, arrives late Friday and into Saturday, and that is going to bring at least a chance for some isolated showers and storms for Friday. Better chances of valley rain, mountain snow as we head into this weekend. It should primarily start off as rain outside of, say, 8 to 10,000 feet for Saturday. Those snow levels fall through the day on Saturday, or really into the afternoon and evening, and overnight into Sunday morning, where we could see snow levels down to, say, 4,500 feet or so. That'll lead to accumulating snowfall, depending on how much moisture is in place. There will be the potential for accumulating snowfall over our mountain passes, especially those for areas along and west of the divide. That could lead to some travel impacts for Sunday morning. Overall, the one thing that is helping us out with how warm surface temperatures are, we will likely see a lot of that snow, unless it's coming down really heavy, melt off of the roads. That in its own right could actually lead to its own set of problems as we head into the morning hours, both Sunday and Monday morning. If you get enough snow on there, you get the water on, it melts away. You have the water on the roads. It refreezes overnight because temperatures will be falling down into the 20s. So a little bit of a catch-22 there. You may see the snow melt away off the roads, but then it refreezes and turns to ice overnight, and then you have to wait for it to warm up before we start having some improvements. So that's just something we're going to have to keep a close eye on. There's still a lot of questions with that storm system for this weekend. How does it come through? How does it evolve? Is it more of that open wave? Is it more of a low-pressure center? That'll really determine what areas may see the greatest amount of precipitation, and if it's going to be more condensed or more scattered and isolated in nature. But that'll be something that we watch over the next couple of days. And then the other question really comes down to, how does this storm system clear the area? That'll be for early next week. And as funny as it is, that's actually going to be related to how tropical systems out in the Atlantic behave and how they develop, how they track as they move in. So don't know all the details of that, but it really just shows how different parts of the atmosphere and how different storm systems can really interact and relate with one another, and can determine things for places back out to the west or further down the road. I know the storm system we talked about this past weekend, that was actually induced or at least impacted because of a typhoon that was out in the western Pacific that went up and around and came back through into western Montana. So just some interesting weather information about how it all is really interconnected. And this is me just sharing some weather history, weather facts of sorts, not in our area, but to our neighboring state to the east. In North Dakota, they had the first EF5 tornado since 2013. It was a tornado that actually touched down on June 20th this year. National Weather Service in Grand Forks, as well as some different organizations, specialists, wind engineers, things like that, people like that, that came together to do some unique wind engineer mathematics on some of the damage that was done with a train to indicate the type of intensity that the tornado would have needed. Talking winds over 210 miles per hour to take this tanker truck, or this tanker unit, I don't know the right word for the train, and toss it over, I believe, over 400 feet or something like that into a field. But they did the calculations and everything and found that, in combination with a few other things they found, winds over 210 miles per hour. So again, that was the Enderlin, North Dakota tornado from June 20th, and that is the first EF5 top-of-the-scale tornado in the United States since 2013, which was in Moore, Oklahoma. And I was, kind of a random thing there, I was actually in Moore, Oklahoma the day that happened. So kind of a very interesting couple of days when it comes to weather history and again, more of the severe weather side of things. But again, that's stuff out of our area. That was our neighbor to the east over in North Dakota. And I think I've rambled on enough, but on that note, again, we're going to be looking at pretty nice weather the next few days before that next storm system rolls in. So thanks for tuning in, spending a little bit of time with me this evening as I ramble on about weather of the wintry kind and the severe kind. And I think with that, I will finish this off. If you have any photos or videos you'd like to share with us, feel free to do so. NBCMontana.com/chime in. Enjoy the very nice weather for the next couple of days. We are at peak season for our autumn leaves, so certainly go out and enjoy the leaves that are out there before this next storm system may help to push those leaves past their peak and start knocking them off the trees. But overall, I think that's where we're going to finish it off. Tune into our live broadcast coming up here in just about half an hour, and then tomorrow morning on NBC Montana Today with Jason Hurst and Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster. So, again, thanks for spending some time with me, and I'll see you all on the next one. Have a great night, and I'll see you later with NBC Montana and meteorologist Mitchell Combs.